Hi, everybody. I'm Christy.
And I'm Eliza.
And we wanted to welcome you. We are so excited to have you here with us at Sage+Sisters for our first email and our first chapter, which we like to call Let's Get Started. As you know, this 12-week program is going to include information on what is taking place in your body during this changing time. So we're going to share ideas and tips for feeling better, recipes, and action items for you to consider. There is a lot of info we want to share with you. So we're really happy we have about 3 months worth of chapters to do so. The bottom line is that we're really excited to help you take charge of your own menopause. Before we start, we want to share with you a realization that we had the other day. We decided to create and partner on this program because we are old friends in a similar line of work. And now that we're both over 50, we saw a tremendous need for this information, as well as an absence of platforms for women to share on this topic. And our realization was this: here we are creating a program about our menopausal journey, and the two of us have actually gone through all of our hormonal transitions side by side. Infancy and early development, adolescence, childbearing, and now perimenopause. So we wanted to raise our glass to friendship and to connection with women and fabulous folks with uteruses right from the beginning. So here's to you and your journey, and to the women in your life. We see you, we hear you, and we are in awe of you.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to begin with the gifts of perimenopause and menopause. So in the United States, the menopausal transition is often viewed as sort of like a disease state, as an endocrine disorder, as a loss, as hormonal imbalance, as a failure, as the beginning of the end. And really, none of these attitudes are helpful, healing, or even based in science or fact. Historically, menopause was framed as the loss of femininity, and then later as a deficiency state. These days, most medical practitioners focus on a false dichotomy to manage menopause, the choice between doing hormone replacement therapy or not doing hormone replacement therapy. In Sage+Sisters, we're trying to broaden the conversation and talk about so much more. We hope to help you expand your options, beyond whether or not to do HRT, and to support you in taking control of your experience and your well-being going forward in your life. So the menopausal years are the beginning of a beautiful opportunity. Yes, perimenopause involves hormonal change, but with that comes self-reflection. And through this passage, we come into deeper consciousness, peace, and personal power. Menstruation and menopause are normal phases of a woman's life, all of which can benefit from support. Perimenopause is simply our natural transition to this new phase and to this new version of ourselves. A positive understanding and a natural lifestyle approach to perimenopause and menopause will help most of us feel centered and well.
So what is perimenopause and what is menopause? There was a time when even the two of us weren't aware of the distinction between perimenopause and menopause. So today, as we get started, we'll delve into what this transition means in our bodies and give you a brief overview of what is happening during these stages. So perimenopause changes start slowly, and it's usually years before ovulation and menstruation stop. So changes in our menstrual cycles are most often the first sign that we're entering perimenopause. Population-based studies concur that the point at which the menstrual cycle is consistently at least 7 days different in length than before is a good marker for the beginning of the transition. So cycle variability increases further 2 years before the last period. Also, women who begin perimenopause earlier and African-American women tend to experience a longer transition. And the shorter a woman's cycle before perimenopause, the shorter her transition tends to be.
So during perimenopause, our hormones, first progesterone and later estrogen, begin to decrease. We lose these hormones gradually, though, over time until menopause, until very little progesterone is produced and estrogen drops to about 2/3 of its former level. So in the early years of perimenopause, our cycle can vary, often shorten by weeks. In the later perimenopausal years, we usually skip periods and go 2 to 6 months and longer without a period. 60 or more days without a period is considered the entry point to the later stage of perimenopause. Often, the more gradual the hormonal change, the fewer the symptoms. As progesterone drops first, it can be the imbalance between progesterone and estrogen, meaning relatively too much unopposed estrogen, that causes our PMS-like hormonal symptoms. Also, sufficient progesterone makes us feel calm, and lower levels can produce anxiety and irritability. So it's the day we are 1 year past our last period that we are at menopause and entering into our greatest creative potential. The average age of beginning the perimenopausal transition is around 47.5 years, and the average age of reaching menopause is 51. But the range, the average range, is between 40 and 58. So, and it's also important to note right away how much stress impacts us during this time. Stress signaling creates a cascade of events that produces more cortisol and less progesterone. This means that our challenging symptoms can significantly increase with more stress.
So here are some of the challenges of perimenopause and of menopause. So during perimenopause, you will likely encounter difficulties, some which are expected and some possibly not. It's even possible that you won't know you're in perimenopause, but chances are that if you're still getting your period and you're in your mid-40s or later, you are. Our goal is to explain the challenges and give you techniques to help you feel better naturally. So what are some of the common things you might start experiencing? Menstrual irregularities, cramps, bloating and breast tenderness, weight gain and water retention, hot flashes, night sweats, loss of sleep, depression or mood swings.
And also anxiety and rapid heart rate can go together, fatigue, headaches, brain fog, difficulty concentrating, and short-term memory loss, vaginal dryness, painful intercourse, and decreased sex drive, also dry skin, and bone and muscle loss. So most of these concerns, including the subtle cognitive changes, are transient and can improve or disappear as we take care of ourselves naturally. Longer term issues to be aware of, though, include declining bone density, an increase in susceptibility to heart disease, and the changing vaginal tissues. We will focus on these towards the end of the program so that you can add in support now to minimize those concerns later.
So in most of our chapters throughout this program with Sage+Sisters, we have peri projects where you can build on ideas and kind of apply them to your real life. So the first peri project is about essential nutrients that we find to be really important and you'll want to integrate throughout the program. So there are two parts to the first project. The first part is the menopause rating scale, which you will be able to take in order to track your symptoms. It will be the best tool for understanding your positive results, and it's good to take it at the beginning and then at the end of the program. And there will be a link to that in the actual email that you receive. And then the second part of the program is the addition of the following essential nutrients and vitamins, which you'll want to add on in week 1. So you'll need to be consistent and give it 2 to 3 months to see improvement with these. And we'll talk about each addition in the weeks to come in more detail. In the actual email, there will be product examples that you can refer to. But here we're just going to give you what the food and nutrients are. And again, please refer back to the email to get more detail. So here's our favorite list: maca, freshly ground flaxseed, fish, chasteberry powder, seeds, beans, and greens, limiting caffeine and alcohol, and supportive supplements, which include both a multivitamin and also magnesium. And again, we have dosage amounts in the email. And then we have a recipe as well in the email, which is called our Superwoman Smoothie. And this is really a critical part of the program because it's a really good vehicle for adding in so many of these essential nutrients. So please refer to that. We also have a video on how to make the Superwoman Smoothie, which you are welcome to refer to.
Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that, Christy, because I was going to say that. So that everyone has to see Christy making it. So today's takeaways: perimenopause and menopause is a natural transition to an exciting new version of ourselves. We are officially in menopause on the day we are exactly 1 year past our last period. Remember that stress exacerbates our symptoms. And finally, that we encourage you to start now adding in a number of foods and herbs right away to see a difference over 2 or 3 months. Those again include the seeds, greens, and beans, the fish, the maca, the flaxseed, the chasteberry. And there's also a PDF that we've included.
Right, good, yeah. And then we wanted to close with a few programmatic logistical reminders. So as you go through the information we share with you, remember that you should check with your doctor before you make any major dietary or lifestyle changes. And you're welcome to refer to the disclaimer in each email, which gives a little more detail about that. 2, please note that we label our projects Peri projects and Peri recipe, which you heard me mention earlier, but mostly that's just because we think there's a ring to it. These projects and recipes are helpful whether you're in perimenopause or in menopause. And definitely join the online forum on the website. And finally, make sure you fill out the menopause rating scale from the welcome email, which we referred to earlier. And then finally, many of our chapters we closed in celebration because we think this is a really important moment to reframe and think positively about what our bodies are going through. So today, we celebrate that you are here with us. We welcome you. You've intentionally joined into a community of fellow humans who are experiencing perimenopause or menopause together. And we hope you feel seen and heard. Celebrate your efforts and your yearning to learn and the ability of plants to heal. So thank you.
Thank you so much.